All right, so Barry had a look at the planning, and as he said, police were not taking any chances. Our reporter Silindelo Masikane has been monitoring the situation in Gauteng, and she joins me now. Hello, Slee. So you were out and about looking for any signs of this hashtag national shutdown, whether it had moved from social media to the streets of Gauteng. What did you see? What did the authorities say to you?
Certainly no signs of a national shutdown here in Gauteng specifically, but we know that law enforcement officials did not want to be caught with their pants down this time around. We saw, of course, what happened back in July with those very chaotic, devastating, as well as violent scenes of looting that took place over several days, and that is obviously following a lack of planning from law enforcement officials. But this time around, it's definitely a much more different picture, where we saw law enforcement on the ground, thousands deployed, from your police officers to soldiers, as well as private security companies coming to the party as well. We understand that over 5,500 of law enforcement and security personnel were on the ground in Gauteng today in various hotspots that were identified, following some of that messaging on social media, threatening violence, threatening mobilization, specifically in hostels as well as informal settlements, to destabilize law and order in this province. But today, we had the police commissioner, the provincial police commissioner. We were following him in his monitoring activities in the various hotspots from the south of Johannesburg to the north as well as the east. And you would remember that those were specifically the hotspot areas back in July as well. And he said that the situation remained calm, that there were incidents of protest action, but not linked to the national shutdown, but rather around service delivery. But let's take a listen to what he had to say to me with regards to the operations as well as the plans.
All what I expect from my colleagues and all my ground forces is that we should not drop our guards. And we will continue. We have put systems in place. The ground forces, the networks, all those things, we have put them in place. And then we talk to them. And we are happy with what is happening up to this far. Support of the community is what encourages me more. Leaders in the community, they are supportive, and then they also talk to their constituencies and so forth to say that, look here, we are all together in defending our country. So we are happy with what is happening in Gauteng this far.
All right, so police certainly made their presence felt. You've spoken to people within the community. Were they expecting action today? What was the sense from them?
Well, it's quite interesting, Sally, to see that communities this time around were actually in support of backing up the police. So what we saw in Soweto specifically was that taxi associations, leaders within hostels and informal settlements were mobilized by police officers and law enforcement to back them up, to ensure that communities understand that the violence, a national shutdown just does not serve the purpose. We know that the economy as well as communities are still trying to recover from the looting that happened in July, where we have malls that are still unoperational, meaning that jobs are on the line. Many people have actually lost their jobs, and what we saw today was that communities were saying that they're not going to participate, they're not going to allow community members to participate in the violence as well as the destruction of property, as well as the national shutdown. It seems that the effects that are still being felt today by communities is certainly one of the reasons why we saw a lot of them here in Gauteng just not participating in the calls for a shutdown.
Of course, this is a difficult one for the police, because someone can mount a campaign that looks quite serious, but if it isn't underpinned by actual organisational support, it's going to be just a hashtag, but it might mean that the police have deployed for no reason at great cost. So have the police spoken about beyond today and what the plan is to make sure that their intelligence is correct when they should act and when they should see it as just something on social media?
You know, Sally, what we understand, of course, in terms of the operations today was that it was a preemptive strike. It was a show of force. It was to show that police will certainly not tolerate any forms of violence. But we do know, of course, that these operations will certainly continue at least for this week. You know, the police commissioner would not go into a lot of detail around what their plans are, but saying that they're going to maintain a presence on the streets and certainly monitoring and engaging with the intelligence that they're receiving.
All right, thank you so much. Silindelo Masikane.